Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome back to another episode of Leicester Reborn. Today's episode, it's Bayern Munich, it's the Champions League, and it's the league phase yet again, where we play Bayern for I think the 6th or 7th time in the competition already. Since we last met, we've had one game to talk about, and it was a rotated team that did beat West Ham 3-2 in a game where we led 3-1 and looked comfortable, and then made it very nervy for ourselves. It does mean that we are still undefeated in the league as things stand, and yes, Chelsea have finally got their first points after beating Man United 2-4. But with saying that, 6 games, 6 wins, 12 goals, 4 against, and as you guessed it, we're still underperforming our XG by a bit. With that being said, main reason I'm giving this episode is Bayern are just so good, so we always expect a good game. If this does peter out and fizzle, I will just come back with the rest of the results. But the plan is to give you a very good game against Bayern. That's the episode. Next episode, show you the game against Porto, because I think it's really interesting, and then recap the rest of the group phase and tell you when we are free and qualified. With that being said, let's go in without further ado. And the first thing we're going to do is just recap the transfers. If you didn't watch last episode, you definitely want to make sure that you did, because it had a bit of the transfers and a recap to the start of the season and who we're signing. We sold Jamal Zan for 20 mil because we bought in a right back for 42 mil when he joins when he's 18. Vinicius for 10 mil as well, and a lot of loans like Warren, Lynch, Ashby, Garcia, who, by the way, in his first month playing away from me, 3 games, because he just played a game which he did nothing in, 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 men of the matches for Valencia in La Liga. He's looked very good since going out on loan. And in terms of the players that we brought in, a couple of guys that are a bit more on the younger thing. Ivan Bilbork, who, if we get a minute, we'll give him his debut off the bench today, if possible, against Bayern, who looks really good, and a guy by the names of Jorge Miljovic, who unfortunately joined just after his 19th birthday, which means he can't become homegrown, which means I've just loaned him straight out the Serbian, mainly because I do think there's a world where he becomes world class, but secondly, loaning him out a couple of times, we'll probably get about 50 to 60 mil, which is not a bad return on investment for the 1.9 that we bought him for. With that being said, let's go and talk about Bayern Munich, who obviously we knocked out in the Champions League last season in the semi-final. They're the team that beat us in the Champions League the year before in the final, and they're obviously a very good side. We denied them the three-peat, but as you can see here, Bayern have been one of the best teams in the world. If you look on coefficient, Liverpool have now got past Bayern Munich as well, and have now been really good. The main reason I want to give you Porto is they made the the semi-final last year, and the year before that made the semi, and the year before that made the final. So yeah, definitely want to give you that. But as you can tell, we've kind of been a little bit more of the runners up here, a bit more of the bridesmaid. In terms of the team, we are at full strength. This is a team that you've seen quite many a time. Melier, Carter, Tamori, Marsha, and Livramento. You're great to Rum, Elise, Smith, Son, and Velez. Might be thinking Damien West, Skriniar did just pick up a knock, unfortunately, in training. Temptation to probably release him at the end of his contract, which is the end of this year. Main reason for that is actually Linus is fast becoming ready to become first choice. The kid is very good. We're going to be tying him down to a new deal at the end of Jan as well. And physically now looking elite. Mentally he's catching up, and the technicals will get there eventually, of course, as well. Been working on final third, trying to get the composure up as well. Get that to 13 before working on anything else. Get the decisions to 15. I know that's not something that you generally do with centre-backs, is work final third, but I'm just trying to get those stats up and improving, of course, as well. In terms of the rest of the team, people look fine. Ogbu's been developing and looking fantastic. Definitely keep an eye out for Ogbu moving forward. Reyes, I obviously mentioned last episode about how good he's been as well. And important to note, Silva, after signing a new deal, 4-star, only going to get better. Very, very, very much watch out for him, because he could get going and look amazing, and PSG want him, and I would hold him to about $180 million, $200 million ransom. And, if that's what it's going to take some of my players away, then so be it. With that being said, let's go see a Bayern Munich line up. They are obviously a side that we have battled with throughout the year, so we know plenty of these players. Kobel, Porro, Mane, Davy, Sane back 4, and keeper that we played against in the semi-final last year. Kimmich in the lit as well. Warner, Olmo, Musiala's moved out to the left. Olmo's come into the team. And Vidovic up top, which means that you've seen the likes of Goretzka yet again get benched. Asta again get benched, and a few of the others as well. Important to note that when we did beat them 1-0 in Germany, De Ligt played centre defensive mid. They looked a little bit better when Mane moved into defensive mid last time in England when we did get beat. My mum's just come home as well. I'm filming this in the half time between the Australia and the Danish game in the World Cup. Australia 1-0 up at half-time, so trying to get this episode done and dusted between the halves of football. With that being said, I would happily take a draw to start our campaign here today and see how we go. But generally, games between us two are very much, goals between us and Bayern. Never really boring. And Thuram gets inside, the club captain hits the ball, and it's straight at Coble, and my mum's giving me a call, so I'll be right back in a second. Alright, welcome back to YouTube. Apologies for all of that as well. I'm going to hope this game doesn't tick away too much as well, because the mum brought home like a cat thing to carry your cat in to go to the vet for our, my sister's, pet kitten that we hold here. And I had to put that together, which means Australia are currently playing right now as the sun hits the bar. So if you see me look here, it's the 48th minute. I'm trying to watch that whilst get through this episode now, because I'm now committed to giving you the Bayern game. So far, 28 minutes played, we are dominating here in Germany. It really does show that once we get going, we are one of the best teams in the world. I need to show you the coefficients table. I think we're up to like 10th or 9th in the world, which is really good for a team like Leicester. Velez is in here. That should be a goal. It's actually a pretty good save from Coble. We've let a lot slip by, I would say, here from the Leicester boys. We really should be 1-0 up here, 1.1 XG, as Warner heads just wide. And that just shows that Bayern will have their moments. But yeah, 7 shots for, 57% possession. We've really turned into quite a footballing side. Time ticking away here, but no goal to write home about. And it is 0-0. I'm going to tell them they're doing well. It is a Bayern Munich side, and getting points and away from home being solid, and then being at home being the best team in the world is going to win you most ties to get to a Champions League final, proven by the last 3 seasons. Alphonso Davies now on the ball, goes down the line, finds Vidovic, but picked off by Carter, Tomori, Elise. Good ball into Smith Rowe. Velez is with him. Velez wants it. Coble again in the right area, and yet again another poor finish from Velez. Not been a good day out for last year's leading Champions League goal scorer, who did falter towards the end of last season, has to be said as well, but has got 6 already in the Prem. That's a great ball to Livramento. Needs options inside like Smith Rowe. Velez made another run, ignored. Livramento's got options to cut it to. Cuts it, Velez heads, it's blocked, it's cleared, it's back to Elise. Thuram might dig from distance. He does. Oh, what a finish. Thuram with the inside of his right boot. Captain fantastic. About just over a year ago, we're saying maybe we'll sell him and, bleed in Reyes and whatever. But the captain, fantastic. He proved it even though we lost the Champions League final. He's just so elite, even in the big games. He doesn't score many goals, but he scores big goals. And from outside the box, fires one with tremendous pace past Cobles. Look pretty good in net. And we lead 1-0. With that being said, I am going to make a change here. It is going to be Carter for Livramento. It is going to be Carter off for Thomas. I think that's your first change. Rest of the team looking pretty good here. Velez has had a stinker, has to be said. I'm going to bring Silva in for Velez, and we're going to give Velez a bit of a talking to after this game. And Hassan out for Rachel Yaya, who is still developing quite well and looks that good still off paper. And, anyone that's 3-star coming into the game is generally a very good footballer. As the Denmark have a long throw and we get it away. Still trying to keep my eye on the football, as it will be an overhit cross for Denmark, and a highlight here for Bayern. 2 teams in red causing me heartache, baby. Vidovic, burst Melier. That is a bad miss from Vidovic. He really should have scored. And as things stand, 1-0 up with not long left to play here. It's a good spot to be in. Tomori finds you great, finds Thuram. That's a ball over towards Yaya. Off the bench, great ball inside. Silva scores. I think he's offside, unfortunately. It's not going to count. Great touch from Yaya to come inside. I almost expected him to shoot, but I could almost categorically tell you Silva is offside. And it's not a foul, referee. Anyway, goal has been disallowed for offside. 73 minutes played. And as you can see, massively offside there. With that being said, let's make a couple more changes. Midfield looking a little bit tired. I am going to bring in Lavia, obviously. And I am going to bring in actually Alex Scott as well for more experience. The rest of the team is just going to play out and away we go. We've got Arsenal next. That's not a bad ball from Denmark, but it's going to get out of play. Got Arsenal next in the league, so obviously try and keep people fresh and firing. Hopefully Velez starts scoring goals in the Champions League would be nice. That wasn't a bad free kick at all. We lead 1-0 here. Elise has looked pretty deadly. And we've looked good. Game's gone well. And as things stand, we're going to lead 1-0 and take a win away from Germany again like last year in the semi-final, we really do prove we're one of the better teams in the world now. And more importantly, we could be taking 3 points in our first game. Smith Rowe to put the icing on the cake. And Kobel's had a fantastic game in the Bayern Munich neck. Elise looking for Thomas. Should have done better, doesn't. 4 minutes of added time. Jose Marsha, Scott, Lavia. It's always nice when you bring Scott and Lavia into the middle of the park. It's pretty handy. Scott with a ball and a half. Elise had to kill it. Decided to cut it after running into no man's land. And they're on the break here. No, they're not. Thomas sweeps up. It's nice to bring him on as well. Just shows how world-class the squad's becoming. Good ball out from Melier. We deserve the win tonight. We've been dominant. Yaya again. Ball to Silva, who looked offside. Mane does well, but only as far as Luke Thomas. Ball to Silva again, who's offside. Kobel with a fantastic save. He has been everywhere, the Bayern Munich keeper. The man that replaced Neuer. And a 91st minute highlight again. If Bayern were to score, be very against the run of play. We've absolutely dominated. Brendan Soppy, a very good fullback. Poor ball. Livramento, Alex Scott, Smith Rowe, Elise. Options inside. Smith Rowe. Silva was offside. Referee didn't put up his whistle. Ball finds Aymar. Picked off by Livramento. It looks a little more likely we're going to score than anything. Smith Rowe with the chip. Dayot keeps it out. We press. It's cleared. Is that your highlight? I hope it is, because I want to get back to watching this Matilda's game. Time ticks, and after having 19 shots and 2.98 XG, basically 3 XG, we've dominated Bayern. It's only finished 1-0. If this was if this was a knockout phase and this was the first leg, I would be obviously disappointed. It isn't the case. So we're happy and we're over the moon because we've got a 1-0 win, but we've missed a lot of chances, and that's been the theme in this season. Obviously, you guys aren't getting as many episodes this season because of how we situated in the league and what we've won. But this is just the hallmark of this season, Only scoring 1 goal out of a possible 3 against Bayern. Only scoring 12 and a possible 18 in the league. We have elite finishers and an elite team, but a team that refuses to put the ball in the back of the net at the moment. With that being said, thank you yet again for joining another episode here as well. With this, I'll see you guys next time for Porto at home, as well as obviously a bit of a run on results. And obviously in that episode, we'll show you where we finish in the league phase, of course, as well. Until further ado, thank you very much. Give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Till next time, thank you and goodbye.